Hi, boys. Welcome back to another episode of the Fellowship of the Fleek Fantasy Football Podcast. Tonight I'm joined by Nathan.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, dude?
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Just, I want to start off with just what's going on with you recently. Anything new you want to let the league know about what's going on with you?
Really fighting a bug right now. I've been working from home today and yesterday. Some kind of cold or COVID or something like that. So that's the main thing I've been dealing with. We've been having some work done on the house, and I feel like August and September have been crazy for work, but I think I'm mostly through that. And so we'll get into it more at the end on some of the games I'm playing. But I've slowly been getting back into playing some more games now that my work schedule's freeing up a little bit.
Nice.
Um,
Did you,
but yeah,
had you already
what's up?
finished the cabinets and stuff by the time when I did your last episode?
So we were through them, but basically the hinge, we had this cabinet hinge, like where you open the doors and then you push them back in, and it was like a complete disaster. And so our contractor was like, just scrap it and let's get a new type of hinge. So now we're getting this new hinge installed where it's like a fake set of double doors and like they like lift upwards instead of like opening and pushing back. So they came out today actually and like ripped everything out and started going back at it. So we're kind of not starting
Ripped
from
everything
scratch.
out?
No, no, not starting from scratch, but like that main cabinet area, they
Okay.
like it's pretty much from scratch in that main cabinet area. They were like chiseling out some of the support stuff and all that. So it's gonna be another couple of days, but we're almost done on that front.
So was this a design oversight by yours truly, or was this just means and methods in the field? What was the root cause of this?
I would say it's I don't know I would blame as per usual it's the door hardware company's fault. After the fact, they were always like, "Oh yeah, those hinges suck. That hardware sucks. They never work." And we all were like, "Why the hell did you not tell us that this is a bad idea? You just let us install this." And so always blame the doors and hardware guy. That's what I
Yeah.
always say.
Yep. That's funny. And how's Charlie doing? Anything new with her?
She's good. She's getting her canines. If she got big canines like me, she's been pretty fussy about it lately. Like the past week, she's been a little bit impatient. She's been smacking her classmates. That's what we've been working through, and it's it's tough because she's too young to like talk and coach through it right now 'cause she doesn't really understand everything. So it's more just redirection. But we feel bad because she's kind of a big kid and she's got some power behind those throws. So she's doing some work in that class right now. But now that I think she was fighting a bug too. I think she gave me what I'm sick with now. So I think once she gets through the sickness and the canines, she'll stop hitting as much. We can only
Dang.
hope.
So Charlie's a bully.
She's a brute for sure.
Dang, kind of on the subject of teeth, but Honey had to get a few teeth extracted today, which was very sad. She had to go in for like a I don't know much about like dog teeth cleaning, but our vet said that they recommended we do a process where they like give her anesthesia or like some sort of medicine that like puts her out, and then they do like a cleaning on her teeth, and they said that there were a lot of her teeth that were bad and needed to get extracted. So that was kind of on the same subject of teeth. So that was kind of sucky.
How old is she?
I think she's like 6 now.
Oh yeah. So I think when Rhodey was like around that, maybe a couple years older, she had some teeth removed too.
Yeah.
And they just like go, they get fragile and they crack on things too, and then there's no saving it. You just got to remove them.
Yeah. Cool.
Dang. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, I'll pass it along. She was looking really super sad and pathetic when I came home, and she like had to they had to shave her arm where they injected, I guess, the anesthesia into her. Or I'm not sure if that's the right term, but so she had like a bald spot here, but then for whatever reason they had to do it in 3 different places. I guess they didn't wasn't working properly or something. So like 3 of her legs, there's like a bald spot. It kind of looks
Oh,
like a little poodle cut, but like yeah,
the disrespect, man.
yeah. So
Does she still do that thing where she basically matrix wall runs when going up the stairs? Or maybe
um
it's in your kid. There was a spot where she was like running along the walls on a hard turn or something like
oh
that,
yeah,
I
she
thought.
she she bounces off all the baseboards to keep her momentum. So
She's
whenever
talented.
every once in a while Vicky will be like, we need to clean the baseboard. So then we have like a little sponge and like a little wipe, and then we just go down along all the baseboards.
Beating up all of her. She's like Tony Hawk's like wall riding.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
All right, so let's get into the league stuff. So we don't have much for league updates other than obviously we had week one, so that was exciting, and I'm excited to
Who'd
get
you
back
play?
into it. What was that? Oh, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry. The only other thing is I was looking back at like last year's podcast and how I was doing it, and I kind of forgot, but I was sending out polls every single week for like what people thought. Like I sent out polls for like who they thought was like lucky, got hoed, and the other thing, and some other stuff too. And I was just like, damn, like a poll every week sounds kind of excessive. But you guys were pretty consistently filling the poll out. Like I had results from everyone every week, so I think it doesn't make sense to do it for the first week because it's like a completely fresh one. But maybe I'll do the podcast like this for a couple weeks and see if we want to start introducing those polls back in again. But yeah, so no other major updates from there.
I think as long as it's like you can strategize this where it's minimal work for you and for everyone else, where you're like
Yeah,
basically like the superlative thing was nice, where it's like who got hoed and all that. But if
yeah,
it takes people less than a minute to finish the poll, and if it only takes you like duplicating the poll every week, like I think that's
yeah,
the best way to do it.
yeah. And I think I can definitely do that. So maybe starting from next week, I'll start sending those polls back out again. Um, but yeah, so going into our matchups from last week, so you and I played each other, and you gave me a proper ass whooping.
Yeah, Prame did all the shit talking for me too. I didn't have to say a single thing.
I feel like I've like could count on like one hand the amount of times I've seen you shit talk anyone. You're just like not a shit talker.
I always feel like as soon as I shit talk, it always comes back to bite me, so I try to avoid it.
Yeah,
I,
but
I contract it out to like the Prames of the world or the Masons of the world that
yeah,
live on it.
but you can see like my projected was, the projection wasn't that far off, but I mean, yeah, looking at your team, I was not expecting Patrick Mahomes to score that many points. I feel like I was surprised that you took him in the second round. Not that like I thought there was a bunch of other quarterbacks that were better than him, but I just feel like Mahomes last year was not a great fantasy quarterback. Like he won a lot of games, but they weren't a lot of high scoring games. And then so 26, that was a lot. But I mean, your whole team, I mean, pretty much everyone. No, I guess there's a few people that underperformed too, but Josh Allen just went super ham. So I guess that's where most of your extra points came from.
Yeah, no, see, that's again why I don't shit talk is because it always comes back to bite me. And I think the two players on my team you didn't necessarily shit talk, but you had some doubt in was Patrick Mahomes who showed up, and then also Debo. I know you had mentioned like
Yeah.
you weren't super confident in his abilities. He got his 19 points, which is plenty. Especially, I think that's a good sign, or I hope it's a good sign for more things to come with him on Washington because he's really talented, and obviously their quarterback's incredible too. So yeah, people showed up. Even I can't even pronounce his name, Njigba, the guy that she can kind of get rid of. He even played his part, man. It was a good showing. Then obviously, man, that Bills Ravens game was unreal. That was the game of the year, week one.
Yep.
Um, Josh Allen he was in a flow state, like Mason said, was the best way to put it. And that 40 points definitely reflects what he did that night. It was crazy.
Yeah. Um, I mean, did you watch the full game?
I think I didn't join till the second quarter, but I think I watched second quarter till the end.
Yeah, I started from the third quarter and watched it to the end, and that last, I mean, I think it was kind of an ass whooping the other way around for most of the game, and then up until it was like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then Josh Allen just went Superman, and yeah, I mean, I watched it too. I think there was like four or five of us in the chat that were texting about it, and that was an awesome first Sunday night game to start, and I feel bad for the Ravens, man.
Yeah, you probably joined when it was 40-25, like when it looked like it was over. Lamar was going crazy.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, I think, already had two touchdowns by then at least.
That one
And
play where he like ran like 15 yards back to like avoid a sack and then still like ran forward. I was just like, when that play happened, I was like, there's no way. Like the Bills have to give up after that. Like there's just it's not your day. And then Josh
he
Allen
did it all
just,
with a grilling too.
yeah, that's what I was looking at. His mouthpiece looked like a grill. I couldn't tell if it was a grill or a mouthpiece grill or what that was.
Dude, I was talking to Chat GPT during the game. I was like, "What? This is real?" And apparently, from what it said, there were some grill websites, like people that do that. They make people custom grills, and like, yeah, that's a truly custom grill, like actual encrusted diamonds that he was wearing for the actual match.
That's
It's a
funny.
removable grill apparently, but just wild that he wore it during an NFL game.
Yeah.
Definitely flexing.
Did you see the fan that like kind of was like hitting DeAndre Hopkins on his head after he caught the touchdown?
Yeah, he got friggin' shoved. He should have gotten removed.
Yeah, I saw that the fan ended up getting banned for life from all NFL stadium or all NFL games, but that was crazy, man. I was like, why? It's funny because DeAndre Hopkins like did not care at all. He just was smiling while it happened. But I was like, what? In what world? Why are you hitting him on his head, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, I love DeAndre Hopkins. That catch was unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah,
he's freaking talented. And it's cool that he didn't get fired up, even though that fan was an idiot.
yeah,
He's just a really good player. I've always liked him quite a bit.
yeah. Whenever he was leaving Houston, I was like hoping that Dallas would take him because I think that was during the time when I think it was before we got CD Lamb and then Dez had already maybe fallen off or wasn't on the team anymore. So he's been jumping around the league and still been really productive.
Yeah, I think he only got two catches that night, but I mean, he got that sick touchdown catch, just one hand, grabbed that
Yeah,
crap, pulled it in like it was nothing.
yeah.
He's a beast.
Anything else you have on your thoughts on our matchup?
Not really. This was man, I'm in three leagues this year. This was the only league where I was able to actually draft. The other two I had to do auto draft for various reasons, and so I'm glad that the one time I actually picked players, it worked out well, and it was a pretty solid choice for me to pick up the Packers and drop the Lions with that trade with the Cowboys. They did some work.
Yeah,
it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and I was looking at some of the last year's stuff too, and towards the end of the year, you actually were going really ham. I think you like leading into the playoffs. I think you had maybe the best team, if not for me. And then I don't know what happened in the playoffs, but maybe you just got unlucky or something and had a bad week. But it looks like you're starting this year off right where you left off.
Yeah, I think you and I were going back and forth. I think I was number one in points, points for almost the entire league, and I think you superseded me at the very end on points for or something like that. Like we were neck and neck at least,
Yeah,
and had some rough luck towards the playoffs, but it's all good. That's
yeah.
what you get with fantasy.
All right, so next I have my matchup. So I'm playing Mason, and it's already not looking good. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my lineup at all yet. I let three people go, if you saw from the last slide. So Cam Ward, Ollie Gordon, and Jake Ferguson are out, and I picked up Sampson, Strange, and the Patriots defense. It looks like is what I did. So I don't know if I'm going to start any of them yet. I mean, the Patriots defense for sure, just because they're playing against Miami, and Miami was abysmal last week. But I like, I don't know, when I draft players and a lot of them didn't really perform the first week, I like to still give them another chance. Kind of, I don't want to make too many rash decisions early. I like to know a little bit more information of what's going on. The problem is Evan Ingram. So they said he had a calf injury, and they're not updating. Like I looked online, and I couldn't find any updates on what the injury is, because calf injuries I feel like can often be it's like the stuff like McCaffrey has and stuff. It's just like they could be out, and I still don't know if he's gonna play or not. But Strange, I think, might be a better pick regardless. And the Cincinnati Bengals defense is known to be bad, so he's probably gonna get some touchdowns regardless.
Yeah, I know you're pretty keen on Ingram. I feel like I've had him multiple times over the past like 7 years of playing
Yeah,
fantasy. Just I've never been blown away by him. I do think Patriots is where it's at. I think Penix is looking good, and the Vikings might have a tough time putting up against Atlanta just because they. I mean, he's looking really good for a fresh quarterback.
yeah.
How do you feel about for this season or for this particular draft? I think you were pretty delayed on getting quarterbacks. Do you still feel like that was the right choice, or would you think you would have rather gotten better quarterbacks earlier? Were you kind of forced into that position?
No, that's a great question. So I think it was really a matter of where I was in the draft, that kind of prevented me. Here, I'll bring up my draft board while I'm talking about it. But I was the ninth pick in the first round, and I just feel like with that position, you're kind of just screwed with your what options you have. So at my pick, right, the next best quarterback would have been Mahomes. And so if I would have taken
First
Mahomes
round.
in either of these picks, I'm losing out on probably Neighbors, which in hindsight may have not been the right pick. I probably should have taken Henry. But I thought I'd balance between one running back and one wide receiver. So um, if I take Mahomes, I lose one of them, and then by the time this draft comes back around, then I'm picking like
Brock Purdy would
Kyron
have been a good pick.
Williams.
I mean, I think Brock Purdy over Brian Thomas would have been the move.
Yeah, but also Purdy did just get hurt. I mean, that's not, it's hindsight,
Did he?
obviously. Yeah, I think I saw some reports on him being hurt, but that's hindsight.
Thomas did Jack
So
deadly week one.
so my whole draft strategy was actually that in all the stuff on Sleeper that I wasn't checking all of the right sources, but in Sleeper they had Dak showing as a 6th round pick. Like he was supposed to be like 6.7, 6.8 or something like that. So I built my strategy around taking Dak in the 6th and Caleb Williams in the 5th. And so I was like, let me stack because I thought Dak is gonna have a breakout year and he's super undervalued, so I'd be able to get him for cheap essentially. So I was like, let me get some stars on my like wide receivers and running backs, and then let me get Caleb because I'm also high on Caleb Williams. I figured with Ben Johnson as their head coach, like their offense is going to be a lot better than last year, and that hasn't really proved to happen. Dax didn't score great, but I feel like he played well, and I think he's going to go ham against the Giants. So I built my whole strategy with that, and then when Wade took Dak here, then I mean I took Caleb, where I planned to take him, and then that kind of screwed my stuff up afterward. And at that point, I mean Jordan Love was the next quarterback on the board, and that's who I decided to take for sure. I don't think I would have taken CJ over him, and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I'm not sure. And then I also was really high on Penix too, but I was a little bit, I don't know. I just felt something a little bit more about Caleb Ward or Cam Ward, sorry. So I should have taken Penix as well. Penix is definitely going to be your keeper for next year, probably.
Yeah, looking through this list, I don't see anybody going. Debo maybe if he like really does go crazy like he has in the past on Washington,
Yeah.
but Penix I think is probably that guy. He just was really solid. So is that your strategy? You basically like come up with 3 to 5 players per round that you want to target based on your draft order and what
Yeah.
I guess says.
Yeah. So I mean, the first few rounds I think it's really easy because you pretty much know what the first 5 or 6 picks are gonna be. So like I built my whole strategy knowing that all of these guys were going to be gone, and I was going to take between Bijan, CD Lamb, and Barkley. I was just going to take whichever one was available by my turn. And so like if CD was available for me, then I would have taken Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey. Like I had it all kind of routed out for those first couple picks. But then after that, like there's only so much that you can plan for, and I looked at a lot of players' ADPs, and then I figured like Travion Henderson was someone that I really wanted, like regardless. And I planned like I'm gonna take him with my 6th round pick if he's available. And so that's kind of why I did that. And then Calvin Ridley and Evan Ingram also I targeted with those specific picks. I think I ended up getting them 1 round earlier than I originally planned, but yeah. So that's kind of how I did that.
I could also see Josh Allen being my keeper if I end up being like 10th pick. That might be worth it.
Yeah, that's true because if you were to win, well, if you were to win the league, you'll get last pick on your pick. But yeah, so you'll know what pick you are before you're deciding who to keep though.
Yeah, that'll be important for sure.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean Mason has Lamar and he has JJ McCarthy. Yes, he needs to trade one of his quarterbacks. He has too much. He has too many good quarterbacks, honestly.
He got three
He
quarterbacks.
has Lamar, Baker, and JJ McCarthy, and they all did well.
I don't think that's horrible. I mean, you could definitely trade it for more resources if you're just
Yeah.
talking like
Well,
a
also I
straight.
guess the buy. He's gonna need someone for the buy. So now he's got that.
Yeah,
He's got that
I think
unlocked.
three quarterbacks for Superflex. I really am enjoying Superflex. This is my only Superflex league, and it just feels right to have the quarterbacks not forgotten until the 5th round. Like it
Yes,
feels right for
and
them to be intermixed. Like it's a lot. They're just so important. Like
mhm.
having them pushed off to the 5th round feels stupid.
I completely. I mean, that's the main reason why I like it, and also I feel like it makes the draft so much more unpredictable because
Mhm.
in a conventional league, it's like always just running backs or wide receivers first, and I feel like in a super flex, it kind of can go either way. Like you could start quarterback, but you don't have to, and it really mixes up like what can happen, and that makes a draft I think a lot more fun.
Mhm. You could
Yeah.
be like Joji and do Jamar Chase 2nd round or 2nd pick, and then have him get 4 points in week 1.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Dude, that hurts. That
Yeah. And
hurts.
speaking of Joji, that's who you're playing.
Yeah, dude. Jamar Chase is scary, but hopefully he has a repeat performance. I had Joe Burrow in my other league, so I feel the pain on that one. But
Yeah.
um, yeah. Speaking of, you were talking earlier about not changing too much based on week 1. In my other league, one of my buddies he went ham week 1 and like dropped half his team basically. And so I'm kind of trying to raid that pantry. He dropped Tyrone Tracy, which I see on Joji's bench, who I'm going to scoop up, and a few others. But I tend to agree with you. Hold out till a couple of weeks in because people I think tend to overvalue week over week performance, and
Mhm.
people their draft positions are there for a reason. Like those are high up on the rosters. They're people that are going to be getting consistent play. You can't just discount them for 1 week, so it's good to hold off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Joji's got a solid team. I'm interested to see who he slots in for his super flex. Who's his backup quarterback? Is Daniel Jones? Daniel
Yeah.
Jones. Did he drop a quarterback this past week?
I think he did. Yeah, because he has an extra bench. So he dropped his quarterback for whoever for him picking up Daniel Jones.
If it was Brock Purdy if he's injured. Oh no, he's probably a Goff or whatever. He's Goff
Yeah.
Plendick. Is his name.
Yeah, he's gonna
Uh,
have to change his team name now.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did Jared Goff get hurt?
I don't think so.
Maybe he just sucked.
Yeah, but that's a surprising drop.
Yeah, no, honestly, my team they outperformed. I don't know that that's going to be a consistent thing. I'm seeing a lot of green on the opposing teams. Carolina, New England, Buffalo, New York Jets. So I'm hoping they can tear up these good matchups. But most of my projections that I've seen are pretty even and pretty average. I think it was a lucky week 1, so
Yeah.
um, I could go either way in my opinion.
Nice. Any do you want to shit talk Joji at all or keep it safe?
I'm keep it safe for now. It's kind of wild. Has Bucky Irving ever been amazing? He's like got crazy projections. I feel like I've picked him off of waivers in previous years, and he's been a letdown. But people are kind of going crazy on his projections now.
I mean, I think he was a league winner for me last year.
Was he?
He went completely ham last year, and
I think his fourth year.
he was a second string last year too, because I think Rashad White was their starter, and then Bookie was a backup, and then he just took over by the end of the year.
Rob White sucks. I freaking kept him as a keeper in a different league instead of Alvin Kamara. Because like Alvin's too old.
He is
This is
old
last.
though.
I know he is old, and I was like, I can't do Alvin. He's gonna freaking die. He's too old. And then he just goes crazy. He's still a top 10 running back, and Rashad White is just a nobody.
Imagine if Alvin Kamara watches this podcast and then he hears you just say he's gonna die. uh,
uh,
that'd be funny.
yikes.
All right, so what do we have here next? Okay, so waivers and free agency. So this was an interesting week for sure. It was a
Pricey Aaron Rodgers.
Shin being a hoe as usual, but the thing is, he really did bite himself in the ass because He's gonna get, so let's see. So $4 would have been the winning bet, and
He
he
gets
spent a
51.
hundred.
Does he
So
know it's the full season?
does he know what?
That the fab is for the full season? Like you only get $100 for the whole
I'm
season?
pretty sure he knows that.
That's a really expensive Aaron Rodgers.
So I mean,
Um,
with the training wheels rules, right? He's gonna get half of 96 back. So he'll get half of that. He'll get half of that back. But that's still like a lot of money. I mean, if he had just bet like $10, he'd still have nine. He'd have more than 90 left.
I just hope he didn't think like you get $100 a week to bid.
I
But I think we're clear on the rules on how that works.
Yeah, I mean, he was against the training wheels in general, so he kind of screwed himself. But I mean, like, if you go down here, you can see no one I guess was interested in Dylan Sampson for whatever reason. The funny thing is during the draft, I was like on a 50-50 coin between taking Dylan Sampson or Ollie Gordon with my very last pick in the draft, and I went Ollie Gordon. I don't know, that's just what I chose. And then Dylan Sampson ended up performing like I kind of thought he would, and he's really who I should have been my last pick. Um, and so now I spent 51 on him, so I'll get like 25 back. But yeah, I've spent a quarter of my fab budget already, and no one else even wanted him, so that makes me feel kind of dumb. Tyler spent a
Yeah, but
lot
training
on,
wheels get screwed if no one else wants him too.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, you get the same. It's a 50% refund regardless. So
The difference between the other person's bid
yeah.
and your bid. So it does screw you if no one
Oh
else
yeah,
wants him. It's a bigger amount that
yeah, that's
means
true.
you get less back.
Yeah, for sure. So Joji, yeah, Brain put a $0 bid on Daniel Jones, and then
That's
the
not
other
bad.
ones are pretty
11 bucks is
reasonable.
a little high for Daniel Jones, but like he needs a
Did you see
quarterback.
him? I watched that whole game because my father-in-law's here and he's a Dolphins
I
fan.
didn't watch it at all. Was
Dude,
he
he
good or bad?
he went freaking ham, man. They were doing MVP chants,
Really, Daniel Jones?
and they were calling him Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm trying to think. Josh Downs is still at Indianapolis, right?
What position does he play?
He's a wide receiver. He was
I
he was
think
pretty
so.
damn good. But I was gonna scoop him in my other league, but I was like, man, he got like no points week one. But that's weird that Daniel went crazy and Josh Downs didn't really do that much.
I
But
think Pittman went off.
Pittman, gotcha,
I think. And their tight end. They took a tight end in their first round, Tyler Warren. I think he had a touchdown and a few catches as well.
gotcha. And
Yeah,
then Chubb was on the waivers. What
I
happened
guess
with
so.
Chubb?
I mean, he's been injured. He like completely destroyed his knee last year. I'm shocked he's still in the league somehow.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I don't understand this. So I guess after the waivers process, you can pick like Tyler. Did Tyler get Kayshawn Booty with like it doesn't have any dollars next to it? But I thought you still have to. Do you not have to pay after the?
No, once there's like a window after like basically all of Tuesday and I guess part of Wednesday when it's competitive after we've just seen the week one performance,
Yeah,
that's when you do your bids. And then as soon as that processes, everybody that's not there just goes on to free agency and
and
you
you
can
can just
scoop
scoop them
them.
up. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Sometimes, like let's say you like for Shin when he got Aaron Rodgers and it processed and he got Aaron and dropped Sky Moore. Sometimes the person they drop has like a secondary waiver. I can't remember
Yeah.
if that's
No, I know what you're talking
this
about.
week or not. But
Yeah.
if somebody like even played week one, no one bid on them, then they just go to free agency and you can scoop them for free.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I think it's working as intended.
Mhm.
Um. Yeah. And then
I
I'm
thought
gonna.
Sky Moore was Shin's lucky charm or something. He was making jokes about that. Isn't his fiance named Sky?
Yeah. His fiance's name is Sky, so me and Jesse always say Sky more like a special way to give respect to his fiance. And he named
Damn,
his
dude.
team after Sky, but then I think he changed it. I think he changed it after AJ Brown's performance. So his team, I mean, he had to change it because he dropped Sky Moore anyway. So he kind of, yeah,
Disrespect, man.
yeah. And I'm gonna add. I didn't have time, but I'm gonna add a slide here that kind of counts up the wasted fab, and that's that too, so we can see, who was most efficient with their fab and all that, and I'll have that as data we can look at as well. I just don't
That'd
have
be
that
cool.
available now. Okay, so here's our accuracy. So I was a little salty because Mason beat me by 0.1%, and I was hoping I could at least have one thing to hold on to from week one. But yeah, so everyone I feel like was okay except freaking Joji and Wade just completely, and Wade still won.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's got deep talent.
yeah, for sure. And then one other thing that's new this year that I thought would be interesting, I wanted to put this on a slide, but I didn't have time, is I took a screenshot of the matchups at halftime on Sunday to kind of see like what did it look like at that point in time. And here's what the end by the end of the game, right? So this was the end. Oh, that actually looks nice. And then here is what it looked like at halftime. So you can see like Jesse was slated to win, and then went the other way, and then Shin and Chase were pretty close, and you can see I mean they were within 2 points by the end of it,
Yeah,
and then
Patriots pulled it back.
Wade
But
was supposed to lose, and then Joji's team just completely you know fell apart. But yeah,
dang,
what do you think about this like analysis, like looking at like halftime versus how it ended?
that's kind of cool. You can even do a third one of like projections. I guess the projections are already there. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, this
Dang, I didn't
projection
realize.
shows like from before any of the games started, like what was
Yeah,
your projection, and this was like at halftime, what is your current projection at? So you
I
can
think
see,
halftime's cool.
yeah, as you can
A
see, my
cool.
team was supposed to do 118, and by halftime, so many people had underperformed, then it reevaluated to 99, and then I finished at 100, which is pretty close to this projection. But then at the end, it shows you what your original projection was.
We can also watch your battery slowly die from 48 to 34.
Well, actually, I mean, this screenshot was taken Sunday at noon, and this I think I took like today, so it's
Oh.
just coincidence that it's lower.
I didn't realize who's that at the bottom? That's Mason and
Prame.
Prame. They had a freaking shootout, 130 plus each.
Yeah, I feel bad for Prame. You know, he
He
got
would have
punt.
beaten everybody but me and Mason for the week.
Yeah, he had the third highest points, but he got a loss, and yeah,
Man, we had some really big differences in end scores. There's a lot of people below 100. Some and Joji like very below 100. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I actually have a slide that shows the PFs. Like, oh no, actually, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't include that. So here's the superlatives, and like I was saying earlier, we had the voting last year, and I didn't take any votes, so there's no vote numbers included in here. So it's purely just going off these stats here. So Nathan's in first for Fleek King. I think that makes sense. I mean, he destroyed. Uh, and a lot of the rest of these, I feel like it's not really worth mentioning who's at the top because it's just like it's kind of more even across the board. But as the weeks progress, then people will get more solidified in those positions.
I haven't read through these superlatives in a hot minute. I kind of forgot what made them.
Yeah, let's go. I
Lucky
think
him.
that's a good idea actually to recap them a little bit. So
Yeah,
Fleet King is the best team of the week, which comes from the Sleeper Weekly Report, and actually a lot of these come from the Sleeper Weekly Report. So it's best team of the week, most efficient, and biggest blowout go to Fleet King, and then on that Boo Boo goes to worst team of the week, and then least efficient. Got Hoed is highest points in a loss, underachiever, and narrow loss. So thought process there, right, is underachiever is your team underperformed to what they were supposed to, and then narrow loss is just like you almost won but you didn't. And then lucky MF is lowest points in a win, overachiever, your team overperformed than they were supposed to, and then narrow victory.
and
And
we'll start
then
incorporating these league votes again as well to
yeah,
like.
I think something like after week 4, then we can start doing the votes, or maybe I'll see what the guys think. We can start on week 2 too if we want.
Have you done the power ranking one yet? Is that power
Yeah, I
ranking
forgot.
thing?
So no, yeah. So power ranking was also part of that weekly poll. So I think that might be what the weekly poll is. Just give us your power ranking and then your votes for these four. So we can start that back up. But I think for week 1 power ranking is kind of silly. I think we can just look at the top 5 PF, and that's probably what the power ranking is. So it'd be you, Mason, Prame. Maybe we have to give a little bit of credit to the actual winner. So if I were to go back, oh wait, oh it was here on this. Yeah, so it'd probably be you, Mason, and then I think Tyler probably would be 3, and then maybe Prame, and then Chase. It's probably how I would put the power ranking right now. Do you feel differently?
Say that one more time. Me, Mason. You wouldn't put Prame right behind Mason with that 130 points?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you got to count the win and the loss. Like the win has to count more you know, than that. So I think although Tyler and Chase basically scored the exact same. Wow, they're only within point .01. I didn't notice that. 104.85 and 104.84. Yeah, so would you put
It is.
Prame? Would you put Prame over Tyler and Chase?
I tend to lean more into points for sure on that ranking. That's why I like we have our sixth playoff slot being most points. I think that's just the right way to do
Well,
it.
that
But
that that actually the vote went the other way, so we're not doing that this year.
oh, we're not. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
But yeah, you
I
wanna
did.
you wanna put your reasoning for that? Because I'm on the same side with you.
It's just winning and losing feels a lot more like you can't control it. You're not the coach, so all you can do is try to maximize your points every week. And I feel like that should count for something. You 5 out of 6 positions in the playoff going towards that combination of a good team and luck to not go against somebody that just goes off that week. I think that's more than enough spots. 5 out of 6 going towards the traditional method, and then having that 1 out of 6 spot, even the last place spot, just be based on, yeah, this person got hoed like 4 times this year, but had a ton of points. To me, that just feels right, and it kind of feels like a wild card as well. Since the NFL has wild cards, I kind of like that wild card flavor. I didn't realize it got overturned. It is what it is. If we do another vote next year, I'm definitely going to vote for it to come back. But it just felt right to have that wild card based on just pure points, because that really is all you can control is just maximizing your points week over week.
I agree. I agree with all your points. Do any of your leagues do any of the other leagues do that?
I don't think so, but I might pitch it to them.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
So I would say in addition to what you said, the only other thing I would add is that I think it incentivizes everyone to continue trying to the very end because theoretically you're never out of making the playoffs until the playoffs have started. Because if you
True,
can
and
make up, because if you can make it up on the PF, then you have a shot to get in.
that Waffle House is plenty motivating though.
Yeah. So we have I did that section first. So now we can move on to our next segment, which is stay in Discord with us, where we'll just chat about some random topics and feel free to stay in and hang out with us and provide your comments and feedback in the group chat.
This was based on the Fleek Squad back when y'all used to play games together. You would hang out after the games in the chat, right?
Yeah, that's
Y'all
where
would
it
open.
comes from. It used to be it was Skype at that time, so it would be stay in Skype with us. That's what it used to be, and now it's
Okay,
Discord.
well, stay in Skype with this. This is gonna part of this update by me is gonna try to respark that flame in the Fleek Squad's relationship to get some games to pitch for you guys to play together. Because I think a lot of these are. I have my own gaming group that I play with on Tuesdays, uh, and we have a blast with some of these games. So I think y'all should give them a shot.
Nice. So I think you have a few games here you want to talk about, so I'll put it up and then maybe I'll leave it I'll give the floor to you and then I'll kind of just chime in with my thoughts as well, but maybe like a quick like explanation of how the game works and then just like a little mini review and then whatever else you want to say.
Yeah, for sure. These are just some games that I'm playing, whether they're multiplayer or not. Peak, y'all might have heard of it. It's on TikTok. A lot of people are going crazy for it. It seems like a really simple game, but it's fun as hell. You're just these four little Boy Scout guys, and you're climbing these giant mountains. Basically, you start off on like a beach, like on your plane crashes and you're on a beach. And the first mountain you climb is based on like it's like a seashore biome where it's kind of like on a beach. But every time you summit that mountain, there's another mountain that appears, and you climb that one, and it's a different biome. So the first one is the beach one. The second one is a jungle one. I think the third one rotates between desert and Arctic. And then you start getting like lava levels and volcanoes and stuff like that. But basic idea is it takes a lot of teamwork with you and your squad. Some people will have backpacks and some people won't. You basically have 1 meter at the bottom left, and it's just your energy meter. And every time you get hurt, it like removes a chunk of your energy. If you're overweight, it like removes a chunk of your energy, and so on. So you basically are limiting your energy. And where that comes into play is when you start climbing, it starts to slowly drop. It does recover once you've recovered, but if you're like hurt, it's a permanent chunk taken out of your energy. So it just limits how high you can climb. But there's items to like recover and heal you and get back your energy chunks and things like that. So basically your squad is strategizing. People are like pack mules and people are scouts. They'll go up ahead and drop rope to help you climb up more easily. There's like chain guns and different ways to cook food and stuff to keep your hunger levels low and things like that. But really really fun, hilarious. It's got really funny physics where you can just like knock people over and it's always a good time. But a lot of strategy and pretty difficult once you get towards the higher levels. But that's definitely the game we've probably played the most the past couple of months as a group.
And does it have an end or is it endless and it's just like a high score, how high you can get kind of thing?
It has an end. We haven't gotten there yet. I want to say there's 7 biomes. I think we've gotten through the sixth. And I was telling you at work how that sixth one ended, where it's basically we're in like the tube of a volcano, and two of our friends had died. I was up on a ledge up high, and Eric was trying to climb towards me, my buddy Eric, and he decided to see what the blow dart gun does, just because we've never used one before. And he shot a blow dart gun at me, and it hit me in the neck, and it made me fall asleep, and I fell into the lava, and it ended our whole run. But I think we were only one biome away from beating it. And I think every day they swap maps. So you can beat it on one day, you get achievements and unlocks and stuff like that. And then if you play the next day, it's swapped with a different one. I'm not sure if it's procedurally generated or if it's like set maps that they rotate. It feels a bit procedural, but they do a good job keeping it fresh so it doesn't get bored or
And
boring.
what's another couple of examples of maybe like well executed gameplay mechanics like between teammates?
So the rope thing is huge. So you can have one guy who's your scout. He won't have a backpack because backpacks, it increases your weight, which lowers your energy, so you can't climb as high. So you basically load a guy up with rope, and there's these things called pitons. Mason would probably know what it is because he rock climbs, but it's basically these little latches you put in the wall that you can rest on. You can like hold on to, and it doesn't count as climbing. It recovers your energy. And so his whole deal would be like to climb up and set pitons and scout the wall face before you get to the top. And if he sets pitons, we can probably climb up just using the pitons. If he just needs to go up a big run, he can just drop rope at the top and he can bolt it into the ground. And the rope like it barely uses any energy to climb. So you can kind of scout that out. You might have a guy who is just your true pack mule. He's loaded up with a backpack. They have portable cookers because when you cook food, it gives you like bonus effects. Like sometimes it'll give you extra energy, or sometimes it'll just cure you of illness or something like that. So he can have like pots and pans and food in his backpack, and he could be the one that gets everybody fed once you get to a good stopping point. There's just lots of little random items throughout the game that you can kind of distribute through your team, and kind of strategize around that, which is a lot of fun.
Nice. And then what's an example of like where the difficulty part comes in?
Uh, Once you get to the volcano, you're all beat up. You've taken damage. You're very hungry because food starts getting very sparse, and food eats into your energy levels too. So you get to this volcano level, and you're only operating at like half energy or a quarter energy, and you're sometimes you just can't even scale it. Like sometimes you're starting to make decisions and sacrifices. Like, okay, we need to shift our inventory around, feed this one guy, give him the ropes, and get him up high because that's the only way we can get there. Sometimes you're just stuck, and you have to like backtrack down the mountain and go up a different way because you get to a face that's just too high for you guys to climb. um, if you misjudge something, then you try to climb too high and you can't reach it with your current energy, you'll just run out and you'll start sliding down. And if there's lava below you, you're screwed. In the earlier biomes, obviously it's just dirt or rock that you land on, so you're totally fine. But once you get to the higher stakes ones, it gets a bit trickier. And then there's lots of environmental challenges too. Like in the desert, you can't be in the sun; you have to stay in the shade, or otherwise you get burned. In the Arctic, there's like a big Arctic wind that blows through that like pushes you and damages you, so you have to like take cover whenever the wind starts up. Every environment kind of has its own. I know the beginning of the volcano has like rising and falling lava, so you have to climb up high whenever the lava is rising, and then when it drops, you can like cross over to other areas and things like that. So they do a good
Nice.
job with a bunch of different challenges you got to keep in mind.
And I think
Highly recommend.
yeah, I remember you saying something like it was like one of the best or like the best co-op games for you like of recent times or what was that? I remember you saying to me earlier.
It's a top tier. I think for it's just very accessible. A lot of people find something they like in it. It's very easy to enter. Like if you're not a gamer, like we could probably play it with our wives and they could like enjoy it and get the hang of it pretty quickly. Like it's relatively simple on the surface to get your foot in the door, and then the complexity like grows a lot once you kind of dive in. But it's and the early levels are pretty forgiving too, so they let you get your feet wet pretty well.
Nice. Any last thoughts before we go to the next one?
Now let's keep on. The Bazaar. This one I won't spend too much time on. Have you ever played an auto battler or know what an auto battler is?
I don't. Can you describe it a little bit? Because I've heard of it, but I don't think I've played one.
I think I haven't played this other game, but I'm pretty sure Team Fight Tactics from League
Oh,
is
okay.
battler. I haven't played that one, but I've seen this game compared to that a lot. But basically, you have like 8 hours in a day, and every hour on the hour you make decisions. Like it'll give you three decisions. It might be go to a shop or go fight a monster or go do something. And basically, you make a decision at each one of those, and you start. You can kind of see on that board right there. There's these little squares that have different pictures on them, and basically the pictures interact in an auto battle that you're trying to win every single one if you can. So you might like on your first day on hour one you might go buy a weapon, and then on day two you might go to a different shop, and then on day three once you have a couple of items you might go try to fight a monster. But you don't actually have to click on anything to do the battle. Every item has its own timer, it has its own effect, and it has its own synergies with other items and skills and things like that. So basically you're just building out, it's kind of like a board game in some ways. You're building out your board with, like, let's say you want to go with a slow build. You might have some items that cause the enemy items to have a slower recharge, and then you might have a third item that causes damage every time you slow. So you can kind of see those synergies are starting to build, where like the more slow items you have, the more damage this does. And then you can get these skills as well, that are not on your board, but they're kind of by your portrait. And like it might be every time you slow, or the first time you slow, freeze an enemy item for 5 seconds. And so you're basically building out your board. You have limited space on your board, but you're building it out with the best items that have the best synergies. But you don't actually control the battle. You just let the battle happen based on the timers and the synergies that you set up each day going into it. So it kind of feels like a board game, a PvP board game. Very addicting. This is a new one. It just got moved to Steam, and it's blown up there quite a bit. But if that sounds appealing, this is one of the best auto battlers out there. I've been trying to play it less because it's very addicting, and I feel like I want to beat more story games. I kind of feel guilty playing it because it kind of feels like
Waste of time kind of game.
a waste of time kind of game, but it is fun. It's a puzzle, so I don't
Yeah.
feel that bad. Like doing a jigsaw puzzle is the same thing as this, where you're trying to find the best route and solve the problem. But
More
yeah,
maybe waste of time isn't the right word, but more like passing the time. Like it's just good. It's good for passing the
yeah,
time, but you're not gonna you like there's not a story that you can reflect on or like anything like that.
That's the way to put it. There's not a story you can reflect on, or I'm trying to beat a lot of games because I have a lot in my backlog. So whenever I play Bizarre, I finish it going, man, I could have played a different game and gotten closer to beating it. But honestly, it's still a lot of fun and it makes your brain work, so it can't be that bad.
Yep.
And this is one of those story games I've been playing now. Have you ever played Metroid Prime?
I've never played a single Metroid game, man.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you have a GameCube growing up?
I did, but I barely. I think I only ever at max had like 4 games on the on GameCube. I didn't have a lot of games on it.
Have you played any like? Do you know what a Metroidvania is?
I know of it, but I've never played a Metroidvania.
Gotcha. I mean, the name comes from both Metroid and Castlevania being the two types of games where basically usually it's 2D. You're jumping around, you're unlocking more weapons. Like, oh, I unlocked an ice beam. Now I can open this particular type of door and I can go to different parts of the map. And basically, the more stuff you unlock, the more you can explore and do stuff. This was the first 3D one that Nintendo did for Metroid. It's really cool in the sense that it feels like kind of feels like GoldenEye, especially back in the day because it didn't have twin joysticks back in the day. It had the single joystick. And it also felt a lot like Halo. Like it kind of felt like Nintendo circled the wagons after Halo and GoldenEye did so well, and they're like, we need a 3D shooter. We kind of don't do shooters. How can we make this work? Metroid's close enough. So they came out with that on GameCube called Metroid Prime. I played it when I was in, I don't know if I was middle or high school, but loved it. And they just released the remaster on Switch a few months ago, maybe a year ago. I finally got around to playing it, and it's been a lot of fun. They had updated it so it's twin joysticks, which is badass. Very, very accessible, but really good game, really cool slice of history, I guess, for games. But
So
definitely
they
recommend.
changed. So they changed the controls to some degree a little bit.
They changed a lot on it. It's very clean looking. The graphics are on point. The twin joysticks are really nice. It feels like a regular shooter. It feels like a modern Halo kind of. There's even like they kind of feel like the elites and stuff from Halo 2, the enemies that you fight.
Mm.
They just call them space pirates, but yeah, it's kind of funny to see. In hindsight, it's way obvious that they were copying Halo to give that IP like give Nintendo a foot into that IP. But I might recommend it to you because I know you liked Halo a lot. But
Yeah. And are you playing it on Switch 1 or 2?
Switch one, I don't have a Switch 2 yet.
Are you planning on getting one at some point, or like way in the future? Like you're not really pressed to get it soon. I feel like
Yeah,
you use your Switch a decent amount.
yeah, I do. I don't. I'm not super pressed to get a Switch 2. The Donkey Kong game looks cool, but I don't think I know. I think only one of my friends has it, so I'm not really
Yeah.
crazy. The Mario Kart looks kind of cool. Donkey Kong looks great, but I have plenty of shit to play as it is.
I played the new Mario Kart at Salah's house, and I like it a lot because I feel like the last Mario Kart was too easy, and like the skill ceiling I feel like wasn't high enough. And I feel like it was made for kids, and then if you were good at racing games, like it wasn't like there wasn't that like huge level to like get better at the game. But the new one, I feel like you can get really good. Like it's hard to like be amazing in that one because there's a lot of weird map shortcuts that you have to like do things perfectly and like wall run and then jump to this wall run and like hit them perfectly to not mess up. And I'm not gonna buy a Switch 2 just for it, but I kind of wish that I had the ability to play it more often.
That's something that I feel like Nintendo is good at is like keeping the skill floor low enough where kids can play, but having that ceiling where it takes a long time to match. Like Super Smash has like competitive
Yeah,
tournaments because they keep the floor low enough where it has mass appeal, but they keep the ceiling high enough where like you could do weird shit and become like globally competitive.
yeah.
The exact opposite of League of Legends, where the floor is like super high to like even be decent and have fun, but the ceiling is also off the charts.
Yeah, and actually, it's a good point. So if a Super Smash gets announced for Switch 2, does that make that an automatic console purchase for you, or even then you think you'd wait a bit?
I think I'd need to see like a dozen good titles on it before I make the dive.
A dozen
Right
is a
now,
lot.
yeah, but the Switch has like 30 to 50 really good titles. So I imagine in like a
Yeah,
year or so they'll probably have a dozen good titles on the Switch too.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really getting it for. I'm playing multiple games right now, trying to close out a lot of games, and I don't need to open up that can of worms just yet.
I think the crazy thing to me is that they're they're not like they're releasing different versions of games that take advantage of the higher hardware. Like for Breath of the Wild and I think Tears of the Kingdom as well. Like you can't just put your Switch 1 version of the game and then get the added benefits of the better graphics like a normal console or like PC would operate. Like you have to buy like the enhanced edition game to then enjoy like the 60 frames per second.
You get a
Even
discount if you have the original.
I wouldn't be surprised if you did knowing Nintendo, but I don't know for sure.
That would be. I mean, that's. I don't blame them. Like it takes time and effort to upscale an entire game. So like,
Yeah.
obviously, if you have the original, like maybe making it $20 or something like that, or $30 to upscale it sucks. But it's. I get where they're coming from on that. But if
Yeah,
you had to
but
buy
what
it
it
from
won't. But like for example, right, with Breath of the or for with Tears of the Kingdom, like what I heard. is that the base Tears of the Kingdom game on the Switch One can't can't operate at a consistent 30 frames per second even because like of how demanding the game was. And so if you were to put that same cartridge in a Switch 2, it wouldn't run the exact same level of graphics just at a higher FPS. Like it locks it at 30,
Oh,
even though like the console could push it to 60. And like that's the kind of thing that annoys me, but that's just a random sidebar.
that's some Nintendo boo boo.
It is. But yeah.
Get a Steam Deck. Oh yeah, Expedition 33. You could even speak on this one.
Yep.
Are you gonna dip back in soon?
I think soon, yes. After my in-laws are gone, and then the week after I got to go to St. Louis for shareholders. But then after that, I think I'm ready to dip back in.
Gotcha. Well, this one, amazing story. It's basically a new Final Fantasy type game. I started playing it like a year ago and fell off of it. Just busy doing other stuff, but really cool. Brand new studio. It's French, which is nice. I feel like it's a JRPG style, but it's French, so FRPG. Don't want to give away too much on the story because it's a really cool story. But if anyone has like a PlayStation or a PC, definitely recommend. You know, it's an amazing game on its own, but also I want to see what else the studio does. So supporting them is kind of cool, and definitely some of the best money I've ever spent on a game. And it's only like it's on a full price, like $70 or $80 game. I think it's like $50, which is still a lot, but not what a modern AAA is, even though it feels like a modern AAA.
Yeah. Do you think the game is like completely gonna revolutionize the future of turn-based games? Like, do you think we're gonna get an influx of turn-based games using their mechanics, or do you see them just being the one studio that keeps making games like this and no one else is really doing the same thing?
I bet you there's not an influx, but I bet you some of the like mainly Square Enix. I bet you they start doing some more refreshing stuff. Like I'm playing through Octopath still. I need to beat that game, but it feels a little bit old school, and I think like watching my wife Haley play the new Final Fantasy VII remake. It feels all right, but it also feels kind of old. Like I feel like they kind of had the JRPG locked in, like the recipe for it. And Expedition definitely introduced some cool new ingredients. So I hope it pushes the boundaries and makes other people. I love turn-based games. I think they're a lot of fun. I know you're not the biggest turn-based guy. I think this game helps you see the light a little bit.
Mhm.
But this game made it enough where like you're having to think through each turn a lot more than just like, oh, I press the same round of buttons every single time and go through like a Pokemon game. This game did a really good job making it spicy. So hopefully, I don't think there's enough demand for turn-based for a huge influx of them. But I hope it challenges the current heavy hitters to do something new.
Yeah, I'm curious what will happen as well because I feel like Square Enix. Well, actually, my thoughts on Japanese companies in general, like if I was just to make a generalization, is I feel like they don't like to react and observe to what other people are doing. They really like I think of Nintendo, and I feel like they just focus on like this is what we think will be the best, and like screw what anyone else is doing. And an example of that is kind of like making how like Sony and Microsoft like went into like hardware and having really powerful hardware to drive gaming, and Nintendo was like, we're not going to make the hardware powerful, but we're going to make games that are just really fun and like lightweight.
Like controllers.
Yeah, and like they're always doing funky stuff. And I say Japanese companies, but then Sony is obviously Japanese too. And I feel like they kind of look at what Microsoft is doing, I think to some degree, in that competition. But going back to Square Enix, it's like Square Enix, like they really created like that JRPG genre, and they went heavy in turn-based and all that. But I feel like they finally made the switch to action-based, and so now I'm curious, like, would they want to then almost feel like they're backtracking in a way to go back and do something more like a Clair Obscur? But I could see maybe it's some other Japanese. I mean, there's a lot of other turn-based games. There's a game series called Persona, which I don't know if you've heard of or played any of those games, but they're also turn-based, and I've never played any of them. But maybe they would kind of implement some of these things. And we didn't really talk about what they did, so that might be a quick little explanation of like how did they change the turn-based combat?
Well, Persona always intimidated me because everyone's like, Persona 5 is like a billion-hour game and you can basically do an entire life in it. And I
Yeah.
bought it for like $15 for the Switch. I was like, maybe I'll play this one game. It's on sale, and haven't dipped in, been too intimidated. But Square Enix has a surprisingly broad umbrella too. They own like the Dragon Quest, it's like Dragon Quest and Octopath and several other turn-based titles. So it almost feels
Mm,
like specifically just Final Fantasy is moving away. Probably because it's like it's the sexiest of their games for sure. Like it's the biggest name brand, and making that brand specifically go into action will get bigger audience for a good IP. But these other ones are probably gonna. I feel like they still have love for JRPGs, and
yeah.
that's Octopath is an amazing game. I love it, but that's still their brand, and they're kind of living their old Final Fantasy through that right now. Um, but yeah, Expedition 33, the mechanics are just incredible. They have like actual live dodging kind of, and each character has some crazy, mini game. It feels like you're playing as you're in a turn-based battle. So it almost feels like you're balancing three mini games plus, live dodging in addition to like your overall strategy to win the fight. So it's not just like this guy attacks, this guy heals, this guy taunts or something like that. It really feels really engaging and refreshing.
And with Illumina, you have so many different ways to like build your team, and you can get very like min-maxy or just like have fun and do what you want.
True, it was almost overwhelming. There was a lot that they introduced in that game, but
Yeah,
they kept it right at the edge where it wasn't quite overwhelming, which was good. They didn't put me too over the edge,
yeah.
like a Xenoblade Chronicles or something would.
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter for real, the old ones. Monster Hunter 4, dude,
Yeah, the
is
old ones.
it's like a spreadsheet.
The only other thing I have to say on Expedition is I think it has the best video game soundtrack I've heard in years.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The soundtrack and I mean the world building is beautiful. Like it's
Yeah.
very very unique. It feels bright and saturated and interesting. You want to keep exploring just to see what they got in store.
Yep. All right, and here we got last up.
Last up, Repo. I think this would be the Fleek Squad favorite. It's kind of like Peak. It's a fun co-op game. Silly graphics, just like Peak. Silly. I think the physics engines are really what makes it fun. Peak has silly physics where you can knock somebody over, they just collapse. This game also is silly in the sense that you can like make people explode. But basically, the idea of Repo is you're those little minion-looking guys, and you're sneaking through a horrifying haunted location. Sometimes it's like a museum. Sometimes it's like an abandoned Arctic research base. Like they just have a bunch of different settings and they have random enemies on these settings. And so you're going through and you're finding these artifacts and you're pushing like this little like shopping cart as you go through and loading up your shopping cart with all these items. And then whenever you see a bad guy coming through, there's nothing you could do. Like there's weapons, and I don't think we've ever been good enough to actually use the weapons because, like, if you're throwing a grenade, you're not just like pressing a button and throwing it. Like you're pressing a button, you're turning your mouse, and you're like flicking your mouse to throw it, kind of like you're painting. So it's like really silly. You can't really get shit done. But most of the time, you just hide. So like everyone will like crouch down and find a spot in the room to hide so that the bad guy goes through and leaves. And you basically load up your cart. You have to hit these certain thresholds of value, like, oh, $10,000 to get to the next area. And so you try to get 10,000 in your cart, you go drop it off, and you unlock the next area. And then eventually you skedaddle, you get out of there. But what's funny is it's in the same with Peak. If you're all in Discord, you always want to mute Discord so you're using the game chat because it's got a proximity sensor. So if you're close to your allies, they can hear you just fine. You can talk. If you're far, they can't hear you. In Peak, it's not that big of a deal. It's just it's more immersive. In Repo, it's a big deal because enemies are attracted to sound. So if you're talking too loud while you're with your buddies, you're gonna pull the enemies in. They're gonna freaking if two people are over here talking, they're gonna get wrecked. But also, like if you go to the next room, if you and me are playing and you go to the next room and you die, I don't know if you're dead or not. I can't hear you anymore, but you also were in another room, so I might not have heard you to begin with. And whenever you're dead, you're in like a dead screen and you're watching your allies play. And so if shit goes wrong and like two people die, two people are in the death lobby and they're talking shit and just having a good time. Two people are in the actual game and they have no idea who's dead or who's not because you don't get any notification. So it kind of has it's very goofy, but it's also very uneasy at the same time. So it's a really really good nightcap game. Peak is not a good nightcap game. 'Cause it takes like 2 to 3 hours to get to the end. But Repo you can do like 20 or 30 minute runs and it's a whole lot of fun. I think I laughed harder at Repo, but Peak was a little bit more engaging.
How would you compare Peak to Deep Rock Galactic?
Very, very different.
But they're kind of the
Deep,
same like type of game, right? Or not?
no, I mean Peak. It
No,
really
no, no,
there's
no. Repo and Deep Rock Galactic. Sorry.
even further apart.
Oh, okay.
In a sense, like I don't know, like Deep Rock is like a Helldivers. If you've played Helldivers, it's like a squad-based shooter with an objective. The objective is always changing. You have weapon unlocks and weapon upgrades and things like that. But it feels more like a tactical squad-based shooter. These feel more like party games.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's no real roles. Like you don't pick like a scout or an engineer like Deep Rock. You're all just the same little pill guy. You can buy tools and weapons and stuff, but they don't really work that well, and it's more just to get a laugh out of you. Like it's hard. It's hard to explain. Like Deep Rock is silly in its own right, but it's also just not the same kind of silly as Repo. Deep Rock is actually serious and like there's rules and responsibilities and stuff. This is more just you're just figuring out as you go, looking like a bunch of idiots.
I guess I kind of felt like they might be similar because you're collecting materials and putting them in a box in both games. And I guess that might be where the
That
similarities
is
end.
that is fair. That is where the similarities would end, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I love Deep Rock. I know you got it, and it is fun. I think you got to give it a fair shake. We had a tough go on it, but yeah, I wouldn't even compare the two. It's Deep Rock and Helldivers is a whole different vein, I would say.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, that's my gaming update.
Well, that's all we have on here. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the squad before we sign off?
Nah, good luck, have fun, week 2. Um, yeah, see how the season goes.
All right, man. And with that, we'll sign off, and I'll see you at work. Are you gonna be at work tomorrow?
Yeah, I should, unless I feel still like super crap tomorrow, I'll be in.
Cool. All right, see you tomorrow, bro.
All right, bye,
Peace.
y'all.